girls tell me goodbye. Trucks break down, dogs run off, politicians lie, been fired by the boss. It takes one hand to count the things I can count on. No, there ain't much man that ain't ever let me down. Long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Like diamond rings and football teams have torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, it just don't know me. The bars in this guitar and long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. She was a Carolina blue jean baby, fire in her eyes that drove me crazy. It was red tail lights when she left town. If I didn't know then, I sure know now. But long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Like diamond rings and football teams have torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, it just don't know me. The bars in this guitar and long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. It takes one hand to count the things I can count on, but I got one hand that's gripping down on a cold one. 'Cause long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Like diamond rings and football teams have torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, it just don't know me. The bars in this guitar and long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. No, it never broke my heart. Long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Okay, sorry, y'all. Oh, what's going on, y'all? Man, I'm feeling great, feeling fantastic. Got off work, came here to hang out with you weirdos. I don't know. That's even a word. Oh man, I'm loving it. No. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by, y'all. Let's see who's all in house. We got Mr. Turf Ferguson, Rick Gillespie, Miss Vex, Lauren's only working long, my balls itch, Willow's Angel, Ellie, and I think I've hit everyone. All right, y'all. Good deal, Lucille. Today's stream is kind of different from all my other ones. Let's see. I'm doing a little bit of everything today, hitting the spectrum because I'm like in a weird vibe type situation. Like not a weird vibe, but like I don't know how to describe it. Like I'm in a good mood and everything. I just feel like going like a little crazy. It's like I'm having an ADD moment right now. Is what I'm trying to say. So, so I have some COD stuff, and we're hitting every spectrum and everything tonight. So we're hitting like Lauren to Mr. Ballin to animals attacking people and everything else, y'all. And everything in between. Hey, Jungle Willie! Nice for you to stop by, my friend. And Outdoor Loser. What's up, y'all? Mr. Mr. Bog sends his regards. It's all right. I'll light one up for you. JC Dean
Nice to see ya. Let's see. Who else? All right, I think that's it, y'all. I think I'm missing something. Oh yeah, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell. Anything else? I'm thinking. If you guys like, if you want, not enforcing it. Octopushy. Nice. Jesus Christ, Majestic. Octopushy, nice for you to stop by. Jesus. Oh man. And if yeah, I know I'm one disgusting moron. I love it. Yeah, yeah. I kind of rather put a bag over my face, honestly, to hide the ugliness. Anyways, oh, loving it. Oh, what was I saying? Forgot. Anyways, oh, hit that likes. Yeah, I already said that. Oh yeah, if you guys like, I'm not enforcing it. If you guys like, you can hit the little pin up top, and you can add some tips for me if you like. So, anyways, let's get started. Let's get it started. Anyway, I'm being cringy as fuck right now. I kind of feel like a good laugh, so I'm gonna play one of my favorite contestants on Hell's Kitchen. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna play one of my favorite contestants off of the show Hell's Kitchen because I need a good laugh. I would like to have a good laugh, actually, to be honest. If you guys don't know, one of my favorite contestants is Raj on Hell's Kitchen. Like I said, he is something else. He's a legend in his own mind. So let's get started. And thanks again, everyone, for stopping by. Trill Cosby, nice for you to stop by, my friend. 35, 39, something like that. Let's get started. Like I said, hold on, I'll pull this up for y'all. Put it on the screen. There we go. Oh, no, wrong one. Ugh, come on, picture. Oh, son of a bitch. Jesus Christ. Off of work. Trying to late night stream struggles.
Nice suspenders.
Oh, thank you. Sir. Yes, sir. Chef.
Right. What's under there?
Under there, do you want me to take it off?
Fuck me.
Yep.
It would help.
This is a bucket of fish with grilled endive and blood orange fennel salad with a brown butter vinaigrette.
That sounds a very sophisticated dish.
Okay.
Which book did you copy it out of?
I didn't copy it out of a book, chef.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really even read that often.
Yeah.
Respect, y'all.
The balance of the dish is beautiful. And you've done something slightly unique because the fish is cooked perfectly.
Yes, chef.
Big boy, first name is?
Raj. I'm an executive chef, and I began cooking when I was 14 years old.
Show me your dish.
I was always the best cook in the kitchen, so I can't see why this would be any different. This is a seafood and vegetable pancake.
My God. It's a what?
A seafood and vegetable pancake.
Pancake?
Yeah, it's a pancake.
What? That is a pancake?
It's a, yeah.
Does that look like a pancake?
He got triggered by the birds.
It's going for a piss.
There it is.
A pancake that pisses. It's a shame because seafood actually tastes quite nice inside.
Oh, thank you.
However, it looks a mess. Presentation's shocking. Okay, guys, not only do you
shit.
escape cleaning up, but there's a little surprise for you on the patio. Escape cleaning up, but there's a little surprise for you on the patio.
God damn.
Raj.
Do that!
Is ready to put on a
This is my favorite.
show.
Once when Raj starts drinking, he turns into like a fat ninja. It's awesome.
Oh my God.
Holy shit, we got a Mr. Miyagi. I start drinking and I start doing karate. It's a bad habit.
Kick it down a notch and let's put that energy towards your food.
You know what? I'm gonna get out of the way.
I thought he was about to have a damn heart attack.
Thought he was about to have a damn heart attack.
You know what? I'm gonna get out of the way.
I thought he was about to have a damn heart attack.
Madame, hello, monsieur. We have an amusement booth this evening of you know, I want to always sincerely do my best for Chef Ramsay and Hell's Kitchen.
Table 10.
But I find myself lacking the abilities at some point. Table 3, guests 4.
Why don't you do this at the table as you're talking to them?
Thank you, Chef Ramsay, for that advice.
All over the place. Kind of like your boy Majestic here.
Well, Raj, this is going to be a long
Not as bad as Raj, but good God.
night.
Raj, help them or fuck off.
I just love Ramsay.
It was fairly abusive
We might not get through all this one because, I don't know.
on his part.
I
I'm
just
a
need a
little
good
bit
laugh.
worried about Chef Ramsay's, karma.
Russell, yes, sir. Get off of there.
Yes, sir.
And let these two work as a team.
Boris and Raj are working together. It's like watching two idiots do a Rubik's Cube. There's no chance on earth they're gonna get it right.
Mozzarella cheese.
I got the cheese. All I'm asking you is to please help me roll the fucking dough.
Where the fuck is it? Let's hear.
First, shape it.
I couldn't imagine being, like, on this show either, in general. I'm sure, like, the stress and pressure that you have from Ramsay is, like, unheard of. It's like God tier.
Here, put it here.
This guy's looking like a fucking idiot.
Put it down. Shape
Not this guy, but,
it.
you know.
The dough's there, you can't roll it.
Roll the fucking pizza dough.
Here's more mozzarella.
I roll the fucking pizza dough. What are you doing? Are you fucking... My partner was sent here to sabotage. That guy is fucking nuts.
Why aren't you two working as a team?
We're doing the best we can, Chef.
We're screwed on a fucking pizza.
No objection. I'm sorry, Raj. Honestly speaking, you did things today that were totally out of character for any chef.
Raise your hand for Raj.
Everybody's just completely jealous of me. And that's the only reason why they want to eliminate me, because they know I'm going to win.
Raj, why should you stay in Hell's Kitchen?
Now that I'm more
Yeah, he's the 87 of the kitchen. Not of the kitchen. Jesus. Of the chef world.
familiar with everything, I'll be able to jump in there and really cook the food correctly.
Aren't you the most experienced chef in here?
Yes.
Yes.
You've been cooking longer than me.
Yes.
Shit.
Raj is back! That's right, Ramsay. And I'm ready to fight. Whoa!
Last night's service was memorable. For all the wrong reason. Who's breathing? What's that? Are you okay?
Raj was breathing a little bit creepy, like,
And it sounded like a big jerk.
Slow down.
Yes, chef.
Who did the nigiri tuna?
Me, chef. Raj, chef.
I know it's Raj. Nice. First tuna in. No wasabi. Out.
It's perfect. But
Wasabi, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
you left out the wasabi. Jackass.
4 for Raj and Russell.
Woo! We won! I mean, it's a wine tasting, and this is really for education of the palate.
Here's my favorite one.
But for me, it was like,
We'll change
oh
it
my
after
God,
this.
I need a
I just
glass
wanted to
of
get to my
wine.
favorite part.
I try to really only drink once a week.
Raj, you're supposed to sip it, not gulp it.
But, I drink pretty heavily that once a week.
Gulp it.
But, I drink pretty heavily that once a week.
Flying high. Dude, you can't put the yellow leaves in.
There we go.
Every station needs this. You cannot give us fucking yellow parsley.
I just have zero expectations of Raj. He has no clue what's going on.
You're not even cutting, you're just patting it down and bruising it.
I'm really psyched to, like, shine tonight.
Entree, 1 chicken, 3 ribeye.
Yes, sir.
You, come here. You're standing here next to me. I called that out, and you just turned your fat ass around. You didn't even acknowledge me.
I'm here. Yes, chef. What do you need? I'm here.
What do I need? What did I just call out?
Oh, yes, chef.
What did I just call out, Raj? I'm talking to you.
The fact that Raj is 49 and still alive and not in jail or an asylum is a goddamn miracle.
What did I just call out?
I didn't catch it.
Nailed it. All right, we'll switch it up here. Ugh, I just had to get to that part where Raj kicking through the door. But the fucking roundhouses, dude. He give Chuck Norris a good run for the money, I think. Oh, yeah, baby. Shit. That was good. Oh, god damn it. Oh, looks like Hell's Kitchen copyrighted this. So, it's still going. Let's do Lauren. It just came out by Rector Bacon today, 8 hours ago. So, let's listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. We're thinking
Lauren
about
has
you.
something. I don't know what the problem is. I'm so sorry for bothering you.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this really? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Is this just called me to tell me that somebody?
We told you. We gotta tell you Happy Memorial Day. King. Hang up to the security, call him and tell him Happy Memorial Day now.
Dear Lauren, that was an impressive little trick you did there, covering your home in garbage bags during the 10-mile yard sale. Your resistance is futile. The network of Raspberry Pi surveillance is almost complete. We just need approval from Acid Burn and Crash Override to update the servers to gigabit speed so we can watch your every move in HD. You are still a threat to little children. Stay away from them and you will be left alone. Go near them, and we will penetrate your Norton antivirus with LifeLock faster than you cried when going to prison. Recently, Elon Musk announced you are a national threat to the safety of young girls across America. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.
The stuff with the satellite, you really do have to stop doing that, the Google Earth, because it really is creepy. And it's really invading people's privacy.
I'm on a quest for the missing link in 3 dimensions. You got no game, no question. Doomed to my profession in an age of empires where StarCraft turns to Warcraft. Turn truth seekers to lies. Let me just command and conquer. On this mission impossible, I turn friendships to fatalities. When is the finishing moves we build like Simman? They all fake like SimCity and try to play Mega Man. Understand that space shit is blowing up like Galaga Beta. I turn xenophobe when it comes to space invaders. Space havoc and ordains, let them fall like Tetris. Them Metroids has no mother.
Drinking that Bush Lot right now.
Brain, put on your mental gear, prepare to take your mark. I got mad game like up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. I nuke him in 3D, they bucking, I stomp them similar to millipedes, centipedes, and centigrade. They making it past the pitfall. I hide in the willows, slide them around like pinball. And I'm tired of playing with fools and no strategies and sense. I'm going back to Cali.net.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hey, Decon versus Dark. What's up, my brother?
Hello?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Roll on.
What are you doing?
Huh?
I was asleep. What are you doing?
You gonna sleep all day?
No.
Oh, like to.
Have you been asleep all day?
No. It's just so hot here. The hotter it gets, I just get sleepy. And then at night, it's cool outside.
Yeah, I stay off the
It's
Budweiser.
not hot, and I can't sleep.
So that's the reason you stay up all night?
Probably. I don't know. It threw my sleep off because they took away my sleeping pills.
What about earlier when you hung up on me? You had that text, and all of a sudden you hung up on me. Okay, bye.
I don't know what text you're talking about, first of all. And second of all, if I want to hang up, I'll hang up.
I'm just checking shit out because I don't like when things look off or seem off. And I heard then all of a sudden you told me, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And you actually hung up.
Because I was done.
You hung up.
Because I couldn't fucking hear you on your fucking mom's phone, your fucking truck with shitty-ass service.
Hey, Kemi! Nice for you to stop by. Nice for everyone to stop by.
And it's
When
frustrating.
you actually hung up, and I called back, and you didn't answer, and you didn't call me back all day.
So what?
So,
Is this what you called for? Are you trying to bitch at me because...
no, I just don't like things feeling off like that.
Well, things feel off when you feel insecure. So things are always going to feel off.
No, I just want to know for a fact because of where you've been spending your nights on internet.
I don't spend my nights on the fucking internet. Don't start, okay?
You spend a lot more time on the internet than what you used to.
No, you don't know that. And you don't know how much time I used to spend on the internet and what I used to do. And there's nothing to do here. So I'm going to look stuff
There's
up.
nothing to do there, baby.
And I'm going to learn
You know there's
stuff.
nothing to do there, baby.
Well, you act like I'm on the internet trying to hook up. Or you act like I'm on the internet messaging Church of Cawd saying, look what I found out about Lauren.
It's not always that you're trying to hook up when you get on the internet.
Well,
Sometimes sometimes the person makes a friend out of someone, and it winds up being more.
Well, if that's a problem with
I'm
you,
afraid of that.
and you're afraid of that, then you need to reevaluate how much you trust me and whether or not you're going to let your jealousy become a source.
It's not a matter of jealousy, it's a matter of worry.
No,
I don't want to lose you.
Your worry is jealousy. You're not worried about losing me to fucking
I am, because I'm in love.
No, you're not. You are not worried about losing me.
I'm in love with you, so I'm ready to
Are you done?
lose you because of that stupid
All right,
internet.
are you done? Because I wasn't done.
Yes, ma'am.
What is on the internet
You're not.
that is going to threaten our relationship? Another guy?
I don't know.
Or maybe...
Yeah, there's other guys on there.
So what? There are men on this earth, and there are women on this earth, and you're going to have to fucking get used to it. I am going to talk to people no matter what kind of genitals they have. And even though I haven't made many friends online, I have made one, and she hasn't done anything mean to me, and she's always there when I want to talk.
You must be talking about Emma.
No.
She's the only real friend that you have there.
You don't know what friends I have. Don't try to assign
I'm
them.
talking about Kate.
I am talking about Kate.
I don't trust Kate yet.
I don't give a fuck.
You can trust her.
Kate didn't punch me in the face.
Did Emma really do that?
Yes.
So I'm going to have a talk with her and tell her that she can't happen.
You had a talk with her when she did it. Because I kept calling you a pedophile and telling her to fuck off, and I wasn't going to tell her my real name, and that I wasn't going to take down the video about Dan. And if she thought that I deserved to get punched in the face, that's none of your business, because I probably did.
That's when she did it?
Yeah.
Or was it after that?
Oh, shit.
Hey, I heard noises. Are you okay? Yeah, I mean, look, we've had this talk before. Okay, you have to wear more than a bathing top. I mean, you're very attractive, but it's just inappropriate. You have to put something on, dear.
It's a bikini top. People wear it to the beach all the time.
Well, yeah, you're not at the beach, though, okay? So why don't you just put a sweater on, okay?
Alright. I'm gonna close the door now so I can finish my breakfast. Sorry.
Okay, take care.
Alright.
Yeah,
I thought he thought I was on the phone. He's just mad because I don't wear a shirt.
Well, that's good. He sounds like he's decent with you.
Yeah. I stood up really quick and I held the phone. I put the phone in my bra, like, really fast. And to come into this room, you have to get up on the step. And, like, my boobs are right in his face. It was an accident.
Oh, God.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
I was trying to
One of those weirdos. What's up, brother?
hide it. And I was like, well, if I do this, then he'll get distracted and he won't be mad at me for being on the phone. But he just wanted to tell me to put a shirt on.
Yeah, I'd rather not use it. I'd rather you not stick your boobs in anybody's face except mine.
Oh, I wasn't like pushing him in. I just like stood up. I stood really close to him.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'd rather you not do that.
Okay.
Because that's how guys get the wrong idea, and that's how bad things happen.
Okay.
And I don't want bad things happening to you anymore. Because you're my woman. Get you there to fix you.
Okay.
What'd you do?
I hit my elbow on the wall.
You okay, honey?
Yeah, it hurts. It isn't funny. It's like a funny bone.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't feel good.
It feels
I
good
heard
on
you
my...
hit something. I thought something fell on you.
Yeah, your sperm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I saw that on you.
You did?
Yeah.
I read in the anatomy of sexuality book that once you hit age 43, that your cum doesn't squirt anymore, it just wiggles.
Yeah, that's a complete lie.
No, I'm not lying. It said that.
Complete lie.
It said that.
It might have said that,
The
but
probability of a man being able to father a child naturally with this regular ejaculation goes down by 63% because it doesn't shoot as much anymore because the muscles don't contract like they used to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now when I shoot in you or on you, you can tell me if that's actually true.
Yeah, she's in love with two men.
Where are you gonna bust your nut, baby?
First time?
Yeah.
Can be in your pussy.
Jeez. Of course.
It's been a long time.
And there's going to be a lot of it.
I highly
A lot
doubt
of
it.
counts.
A huge load of cum coming from my cock.
My cock.
Cock and going into your pussy.
Pull it out,
Inside it's
and I'm gonna squat over your face.
I did not prepare for this.
Tie your face all over with your cum. Shove my pussy in your mouth. Empty out into your throat, baby.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot in there.
You're gonna have a lot in there.
I want to eat your cum.
This was not my fault.
Yeah, afterwards, my cum will be on top of your cum like a cherry on a sundae, baby.
And then we can make out. I'll put it all in my mouth. And
Evil little McNuggets. Yeah, what, yeah, sorry for that awkward timing.
we can make out.
Thanks for stopping by. Welcome.
You'll have it in your mouth, too.
Yeah, we're gonna make out and we're gonna trade your cum. And I'm gonna tell you all your babies are running down my throat, you little piggy.
I'm really so proud of you, honey.
Really? Because I can squirt your own cum into your mouth with my pussy muscles?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make out with you.
I'm gonna make out with you
I'm
too.
gonna make out with you.
Negative. I just saw this was the newest video from Raptor Bacon.
I'm gonna suck on your big square too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mwah.
Hey, when you get home, it's gonna be a present for you, and you have to make it tonight. I want a picture of you eating it.
Okay, what is it though?
There's no poison or anything. It's shipped right from the factory.
Okay, what is it though?
You're not gonna know until you open it. It's a surprise.
Oh, I love you so much, honey.
What do you think it's
Yeah, baby.
more right now? Would it be more stinky to kiss your mouth or to kiss your penis?
You can kiss anything on me you want to.
I know that. I got permission all the time.
Oh my god, this is
What would
hilarious.
smell more? What would be more odorous?
What would be more odorous?
Which would be more odorous?
Yeah. Which one would be more odorous?
Odorous. Okay, first.
Between my mouth and my finger.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm going, probably my mouth for smoking cigarette.
Ooh, that's what I want then.
Oh, wait, can I change my mind though?
Maybe, if you're a good boy.
No take back.
You sting my penis in.
Yeah, I want you to
Sting my
come
penis
for
in
me.
your mouth. Yeah.
Have you ever come for a
In your
time
mouth?
before?
Not in the mouth, no.
Oh, wow. I can't
I
wait.
have no idea one of those weirdos.
You're gonna be the first one that I ever come in the woman's mouth.
Really? You never came in?
One of those weirdos. I've lost track as to what the fuck is going on.
The woman's mouth?
I'm
Nope.
right there with you.
I'm not very good at blowjobs.
They never got me excited. Yeah, but you get me excited.
Yeah, but I can't make anybody come with my mouth. Because my mouth is
And you
messed up. And my
You can
pussy's
name.
too loose.
Huh?
Are you at your house right now?
No. No, I'm so at the yard sale.
Where's the yard sale?
I'm in Canaan.
Where?
Okay, if you pull up Google Maps, I'll tell you right exactly where I'm at. That way you know exactly where I'm at.
Okay.
Okay, pull up Google Maps
Uh-huh.
and go Canaan, Maine.
Okay.
Canaan is spelled Canaan.
Okay. Okay, I see it.
You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, now does it show the roads?
Oh,
Does it show the roads on it?
Yeah.
Okay, look for Route 2.
What? Two?
Yeah, Route 2.
Okay.
Okay, then look for the address.
Hold on. Mr. Harding! Mr. Harding!
Huh?
Hello? How you doing? You okay? Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
I'm doing research in the library in here, but it won't let me access anything. It says it needs the password, but it's not anything bad. I'm just looking at maps. Can you come and get the password for me? You can even come look.
Well.
Give me the password real quick. Don't come in here.
Alright, well, you know, you've been good lately. Aside from that uniform malfunction.
I'll put a shirt on tomorrow. I mean, in a minute.
Yeah, it's, milk from the bag. Don't tell me how they come up with this stuff. Can I help with anything else?
No, thank you. You can come and look at the search history too, so anything bad. Alright, bye.
Take care.
Okay. You didn't have to tell me he can come look at it. You don't need to show him that.
No, I wanted to show him that I wasn't doing anything bad on the computer.
Well, yeah, I know.
Okay. I'm on. Oh, good.
Okay. Okay, you got root 2?
Yep.
Okay, does it show where stores are at?
No, it's showing you not. Pinging me from like aerial view.
Oh, hey, Rachel D.
Aerial from the aerial view? Okay. Let me see. So from that way to that way, this way.
If you just give me the address, it'll let me look it up like that. Oh, there's lots of trees there. How pretty. Whose White House is that?
Which one? Because there's one.
It's History White House. Right in the front. Is that where you are?
Again.
No, there's two White Houses.
Yeah.
There's one White House, then there's another small White House, and then there's a trailer, and there's also a big garage that's white.
Whose house is this?
That's my uncle's.
Oh, cool. Oh, this is cool.
See, I'm trying to make sure you get the right house, though, because there's a White House that's right next to it. My uncle's house, he has a rental that's white, and he has a trailer that is brown.
Yeah, I can see
You can see the trailer that's.
And then I see like a little piece of equipment, like a mini. What is that? Like a forklift or a big old sweeper or some shit?
Excavator?
Yeah!
Excavator and a bobcat and cars.
Big old pound of
Okay, who's powered there? Yep. Yep, I'm looking at it right now. Okay, so is that you're looking at it, okay. Can you see the silver van?
No, there's no van, there's just a white truck. A grand heaven.
A white truck.
And then there's a red van.
You can't see the silver van?
No.
Huh? Can you see me?
Yeah! Wave!
Can you see me?
Yeah!
That's me. Hi, baby. Oh, you blow your kiss?
Yeah!
Mwah.
How come you're wearing pants?
Did you see that? Huh?
You're wearing pants?
Can I lean down?
No, I said it's hot to be wearing pants. Look at your smile!
I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts today. Okay, I'm away from the van. Can you see me?
Yeah! You're not wearing shorts. You look better in short shorts.
Yeah, but I'm wearing jean shorts.
No, that's so sweet.
What am I wearing for a shirt?
Just blue blurry? Why is it getting blurry?
Huh?
It's getting really blurry. Weather alert. Some fields may be affected by inclement weather. This area has a report of inclement weather.
And see, I told you that it's going to be getting rain.
Here comes that wave. Wave again. Let me see if I can see the wave.
Can you see it?
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, just
No?
only like...
You see it?
This is blowing right over Lauren's head. One of those weirdos.
Yeah. It's not colorful.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, can you see the tank top that I'm wearing?
I can see it.
Can you see me holding the phone up my ear?
That's the arm I can see. The other arm was waving.
Yeah. Okay, can you see the other end?
There's a lot of stuff out there. Jump up and down.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to tell. Yeah. Do you like me? Can you see me now?
Now all I see is an exclamation point, and it says inclement weather reported. World satellites may not be functional during this time.
Yeah, it's because we're supposed to get thunder showers tonight. Today, sometime today. You see how cool that is? You can see me.
Oh my god! But I can't do it at your house.
Well, no, because I'm not home, but maybe at some point you might be up to.
What do you think the place like travel would be? It's the Truman Show, but instead it's Lorman Show.
It's a what?
The Lorman Show, like Truman Show. You know, James Carrey.
I don't know, I've never heard of them.
The Truman Show, Lauren?
I've never heard the Truman Show. I've never heard of it. I don't watch much TV.
No, it's a movie with Jim Carrey, and like they make a fake town for him to live in, and they make him afraid of water. And it's a reality show that everybody watches, and he doesn't know he's in a reality show. And well, it has like a moral and all that. It'll probably go over your head. But you can watch it just for the entertainment part. You gotta watch it. It's great.
All right, well, I'll watch it with you. When we're together, I'll watch it with you. Okay? Did you like to see me in person in the exact moment?
Yeah, there was a little bit of a delay, but I'm so excited.
I wish you were here. I love you.
Jesus fucking Christ. Lauren is in a fucking goddamn fucking shitty fucking wind tunnel. I'm sorry for throwing so many fucking in there. It's really fucking annoying.
Huh?
All the trees are blowing real hard.
Yeah, the wind's blowing right now.
Fuck off.
Yeah, we're going to be getting thunder showers. I'm going to guess probably within the next 2 hours.
On the way home, go get a 12-pack, and we'll call you tonight while we're drinking together, and we'll have a party in the romance. Okay?
Baby, I don't want to drink tonight.
Yeah, you do,
I had too much last night.
Well, yeah, I heard about.
Yeah, I'd say. Me and Tony were kind of thirsty. It was hot yesterday, too. So they went down rather easy.
Now that we've made up and we're boyfriend and girlfriend again.
Yeah, we're never gonna break up. I don't know why we say that to each other. I don't know why we tell each other that we are, because we're never going to.
I'm gonna break up with you if you don't get drunk with me tonight.
No, you're not.
Hey, sad face. This is the newest Raptor Bacon call. I'm playing Abusive Paranoid Idiot.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I promise.
Came out 9 hours ago.
It's a promise.
No. No, I love you so much.
When?
Huh.
Can I write a W on each of your butt cheeks and have you bend over?
Can you what?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I'm gonna write a W on each of your butt cheeks and make you bend over.
Yes, but you're gonna move the strap on away from me.
Don't worry, I'll just use that when you're gone when I want to feel my whole pussy up in that.
Okay. I love you. Oh. I want so bad to stick my cock in you right now.
The desperation is at the highest right now. Oh my god. Oh, this is supposed to be Winnie. Sad face. From what it sounds like.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
That's my girl.
You really let me fly. So annoying, so nice. Is it a what?
I did not. Oh my god.
A
I don't have
doe tank top? Teal? No. Black, yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I thought you said teal.
No, that's about the brand.
The what?
The brand. You need to clean your sneakers.
Oh, the brand. My sneakers are black.
Yeah, oh, they're dirty. Oh. They're black on purpose?
They're black. You're not... Yeah, they're black on top.
Oh.
The New Balance sneakers.
Who are those people around you?
Who's a what?
Who are those people?
Here for the yard sale.
Oh. Put me on speaker and I'll tell everybody hi and I'll announce it's special, okay? Do it.
No, I'm not gonna tell anybody to wave. I am not gonna tell anybody to wave.
No, just put it on speaker.
Oh no.
Come on.
No, they can't hear anyway. No, Ginny and not Sharon's up by the. Ginny and not Sharon are up by the garage, so they can't hear anyway.
Come on, just put it on there. Put it on speaker.
Oh my fucking god. Shut the fuck up, Winnie. My god. Jesus. Oh my god.
Hey, speaker. I had to take you off speaker because my battery's going to get low, so I'm plugging into the car charger right now.
Where'd you go?
I'm inside the van. So I had to plug the phone in. Can you see me? Can you see my leg?
One of those
yeah,
weirdos.
I have to let you know something.
Or outside
What?
of his
You
mom's
never
house,
took the
I
phone away
think.
from your ear to put it on speaker, so I know you didn't.
Yes, I did. Inside the car, I did. But I had to plug it in. You couldn't tell the difference in my voice when I had it on speaker?
No, because I was shouting an announcement to get your yard sale going.
Oh, here, hang on a second, and I'll let you do it again. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, shout it.
Everybody, you are beautiful Kate and Lane. The man who is selling you your items is a registered sex offender. Please keep your children away from him.
That's not good. You shouldn't say things like that. Because I had it on speaker.
I can see the people around. There's nobody close to you.
So I know, but still, what if somebody was?
I was watching, baby. Come on.
Yeah, but don't say stuff like that. That's a good way for customers not to show up.
You can't hear me from across the road. What is that, like a church across the road or something?
Across the road is, was the doctor's office. But they closed that down, and now I think it's up for sale now. But okay, these are the houses that my uncle owns. He owns the house that we're at now, that little white house next to that tan trailer. He lives in my house in that tan trailer. The little small white house right next to it.
Yeah.
He owns that. That's one of his rentals. The garage, he owns that. The trailer behind the garage, he owns that. The house behind that trailer, or next to that trailer, beside that trailer, he owns that.
I can't even see.
He owns all this.
I'm trying to look for your old place on Arian's Way, but it won't show me. It just shows the street.
They don't have it on maps yet.
What's Tony Wendy's address so I can see their house? It looks like a log cabin. I like it.
It is. It's a log cabin. And sweaty. It's sweaty around. He won't leave.
What street do they live on so I can see it?
Shady Lane.
What?
I don't know what their exact address is. It's Shady Lane.
Shady Lane?
Shady.
Oh.
S-H-A-D-Y.
Oh.
I don't know what the exact address is, though. But you'll be able to see the log house. I think it's the only log house. If you see
It's off of Tuttle
a
Road.
blue... It's what?
It's off of Tuttle Road. There's a stream, like a river by here.
Yeah, it's a brook.
Oh, that's cool. I want to go to a brook. Every time I go to a stream or a lake or a brook or a river, there's always a bunch of fucking bitches there. I want to go by myself.
Okay, well, when we come out here, if you get in, it's still warm enough weather. September should be. I'll take you down the brook in Cornwall.
Is it private?
There's a nice swimming hole there.
A flamingo?
It's quite private. Yeah, and me and you can go down there.
We can go visit the flamingo?
Well, no, it's not flamingos.
You said flamingo.
Flamingo? Yeah, we can go swimming
Oh.
in the brook.
Your butt must
Yeah, it's
be
so private.
kind.
It's so private we can have sex. It's so private that we can have sex in the brook, too.
We can have romantic sex by the brook together. Nobody will come see.
Yeah. No.
Oh, shit.
It'll be just me and you. There's a lot of places like that in Maine There's a lot of places in Maine that we could go next to the brook in the lake and have sex.
If I'm looking back at you again, and you need to stop being lazy and get out of the van and be a sales guy.
Well, I'm trying to charge the phone. That's how short the phone is. The phone cord charger.
How come they live in a trailer, but they have houses? Why don't they live in a house instead?
because that's what they wanted. He didn't want to build a house. He didn't want to build another house. That's just what he felt like having. He liked it, and so he bought it.
Alright, well, trailers aren't that disgusting. Are they all like yours, though?
Hey, Fred
They
Casa.
all like mine. Well, mine's old. Mine's with the trailer. You can fix the trailer up any way that you want to, even if it's already been built. Huh?
I need a 2-story trailer.
Hey, Fred Casa. Nice for you to stop by. Welcome, my friend.
A 2-story trailer?
2-story. Because every house I've ever had has stairs, and that's why I have an amazing ass.
Yeah, well, it's a pain in the ass to build a second story on a trailer. It really is.
Is their lawn always this dirty?
The lawn?
Yeah.
You mean you always have so much clutter on it?
Yeah.
Only when they have yard sale.
Oh. Is the inside of the house dirty too?
No. No, they're clean. Very clean. They're very clean.
This is pretty around me.
Can you see me? I know. I told you it's beautiful out here. Even though in the wintertime it's beautiful, it's just cold during the wintertime.
Does your family ever come to visit you in your trailer?
Is it what?
Does your family ever come visit you in your trailer?
Yeah, Mom does, Roy does. Uncle Clay's been there, Sharon's been there.
Okay. Do they think it's disgusting or gross or dirty? That's why, like, people have
Yeah, well, they know it needs to be fixed up because when it was Uncle Richard didn't take very good care of it.
Oh.
So that's why me and Roy are going to start working on it very shortly. Huh?
I can see you're not in the van anymore, but now you're going to get hit because you're close to that road.
Can you see me?
Yeah. Close to the road. You're too close to the road.
I'm too close to the what?
You were too close to the road, and you were going to get hit.
No. I won't get hit, I promise.
Oh, shit. It's beer 30.
You like being able to see me, don't you?
Yeah, I'm watching you. Are you going to get a top pack on the way home?
It's beer 30.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I drank last night, I don't. Yeah, but I'll still enjoy you. Yeah, I will. Well, what's the weather looking like right now, baby?
The sky is darker than the walls. It's really windy.
Yeah, I might have to get off the phone for a few minutes. If we decide to. No, not yet. Not yet. We just had to start picking up because the clouds are starting to roll in. So I'm trying to see. That's why it's starting to get windy. Huh?
It's almost dark, like nighttime.
I know. Can you see me now?
Jump up and down so I can see you.
Huh?
Jump up and down so I can see you.
Why don't you go like this? I love you. I love you so much. And you're so awesome. Jeez. Did you see me wink at you? Did you see me wink?
It's not that detailed, but I can tell when you're smiling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can see the fat teeth in front. Like by your lips, I can tell you're smiling.
Okay, can you see my tongue?
What is that? You have something coming out
Did you
of
see my
your mouth?
tongue?
What?
My tongue.
Oh, it's your tongue! Oh, something was coming
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Jenny.
Hey, tell that lady to get away from you.
We was broken up.
She was handing me money. I think I just bought some cups that was on the yard sale.
Yeah, I saw him bending over.
Jenny took the money for it. Huh?
Yeah, I saw him bending over.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jenny took the money and she gave me the money.
You're so cute.
I love you. You're so beautiful.
I can't wait to see you.
I can't wait for you to see me. I can't wait to see you.
I'm gonna meet you
Can't
in
wait
the
for us to be together.
As soon as I hug you, I'm gonna fucking kick you in the nuts as hard as I can.
You gonna kick me in the nuts or kiss me nuts?
No, I'm gonna meet you with my knee.
Kick him in the dick.
Yeah, right. You're gonna do that because you're gonna use them.
No, that's why I'm gonna punch him, so I have to.
Grab his dick and twist it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the TNT dog to kiss him. It'll be time to start immediately training, and I'll just use him as a punching bag. I'll have you stand on like 2 chairs, so your balls will just dangle, and I'll just beat him up.
Oh, God.
This is very
Don't
cringe.
abuse them.
No, that's what they're for.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna get
You,
an airsoft gun, and
you're watching me walk.
yeah.
You're watching me walk around, aren't you?
Yeah.
I can tell by the way you're talking. I can tell. You concentrate on me walking around.
I'm hitting your target, and I'm gonna get my airsoft gun and shoot pellets at you.
Oh, that's the worst. I hate it like this.
Then you have to kiss me.
It'll be like duck hunt, but instead it'll be cunt hunt, and I'll just shoot you.
This is what I want to smack the shit out of.
That's all right. I'm gonna kind of. When you get there, I'm gonna hunt for your gun, and I'm gonna find it. And when I find it, I'm gonna.
Look at your face when you tell me that. You're so horny.
Yeah. Can you see that I got hard on?
Pull your shirts down a little bit.
I can't tell which one's down.
Come on, I can see you. I'm not confused.
I love the power slap.
Can you see my...
Like, give Lauren a good old stocking slap just to see if I can knock him out.
Yeah, like that.
The slap.
Like that? Can you see it? You having a good time right now, Charlie? My baby. I love you.
You too, big mom.
You gotta go? Huh?
I hate it.
Take my hand off already.
If he doesn't start crying here shortly.
Now can you see my heart on? With my hat on? You see it? Are you kissing it?
I'm trying to take a picture of it with my phone. I'm good enough. Take a picture of yourself for me so I can keep it.
I can take a picture on this phone while I'm on the phone.
Oh yeah, hang up on me. I gotta go take a shit.
Okay, honey.
All right, I can't stand this. So that was the entire call. I need to hear rage. I mean, not well, maybe rage. Let's do this: crying and angry.
Fucking touched you. I'm gonna
Oh god, damn it.
fucking.
There we go.
If you love me, you are not gonna do this shit. Suck it.
I didn't do it.
I need a good classic cry, and this is fantastic. Again. And throw those violins in the chat.
If you love me, you are not gonna do this shit. Suck it.
I didn't do it.
If you love me, you are not gonna do this shit to me. Who the fuck is Eric? And you better fucking warn Eric, this scrawny ass bitch. I'm gonna kill him. You better warn this scrawny ass bitch. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Why?
Because he fucking talked too much fucking much. And you're right there with him on the fucker right now. Is he laying next to you?
No.
Are you shitting on me still?
No.
Where is he?
I don't know.
You've got to stop this fucking bullshit with me.
It's violin. Yes. Flood it.
I'm sorry, baby.
Why would you do this to us? Fucking Christ.
I'm sorry.
Why would you do this to us? Eric, because that motherfucker, I'm telling you right now, that motherfucker
Has zeroed that switch from crying to now screaming, like angry crying now. That's what he's doing. And now he's just gonna go into full on rage.
motherfucker, if I
It's
see him,
phenomenal.
I am going to beat the living fuck out of that son of a bitch. Because here's monkey to me.
Ow.
Shut it on, man.
Ow.
Put that son of a bitch on the phone of me.
Ow.
Lauren said I had to punch you.
All right, leaving.
The fucking son in the same fucking house as you. You tell that motherfucker shut his fucking mouth and don't open it again so that I can hear it. Because if he does, I'm gonna find that son of a bitch. And I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm going to fucking beat the living fuck out of that son of a bitch. Is that motherfucker there, yo? Is he fucking there, yo?
No.
Are you fucking cheating on me?
No.
It's my cleanest, best pleasure.
Did you do this to us?
Where's this fucking son of a bitch? Where is he?
He's right here.
If that motherfucker, you tell him right off the bat, don't fucking play this in all turtle shit.
Don't play turtle shit.
Okay.
I'll shoot him right off the bat. Don't fucking play this in all turtle shit.
Don't play turtle shit.
Okay.
Don't play Battletoads.
Get that fucking son of a bitch away from you, and you tell him. If he ever fucking touches you, I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Len's gonna kill you.
Okay.
And you have to leave.
All right, I'll go to the other room.
I did it, baby.
There we go.
Don't you ever fucking bring another guy around you and threaten me with him again.
Tickle, tickle.
Ever. Don't fucking do it.
Tickle, tickle. Okay. You gotta get up.
I am. I'm leaving.
Lauren said you can't stay here.
I'm leaving.
Tickle, tickle.
Tickle, you gotta get up.
You gotta get up.
Well,
Get off my bed now.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Okay.
What do you want? What the fuck do you want? Tickle with another guy. When that guy is so fucking stupid, he can't understand how to fucking leave. Are you fucking kidding me?
Hello? I'm trying to leave too. I have something.
What? To go to the same room that guy is in?
No, I'm gonna go to a party.
So you can have sex? Well, let me help you. I'll get off the phone, then you can go to the same room that guy is in, and you can fuck him. There you go.
This is fucking sloppy drunk.
I'm gonna get ready for a party.
What?
What?
What do you want, Eric?
I'm not Eric.
I'm telling you right now.
I sent you a picture of me in a bikini.
I'm telling you right fucking now!
If y'all would, slap your blowholes on that like button. That'd be fantastic.
This is the last fucking time you're going to do this shit to me. You tell that motherfucker, if he comes near you, I'm going to beat the living fuck out of him.
Eric, if you come...
Even if you and I are not together.
Lauren's gonna beat the living fuck out of him. Because him and me are not together, he said.
That old winded man.
He's gonna beat you up.
Now you need to listen to this. If you fuck around and you pull this fucking bullshit one more time, you may as well go look for another fucking guy.
I love you, baby.
You better stop fucking improving, because I don't like the fucking bullshit you're fucking pulling.
I love you, baby.
I don't fucking like it!
Love you, baby.
I don't fucking like it! Understand it! Because you're not understanding it! Don't understand it! Because you're not understanding it! Talk, Eric!
What?
Get in fucking rehab and then fucking call me.
You don't like
What?
I love you, baby. I'm sorry.
You're not fucking sorry. You're trying to use your womanly fucking ways, and it's not working on me.
I love you, baby.
You're getting fucking sexual shit from other guys and cheating on me.
I love you.
Bye. Are we okay? We got the fucking... We've got to do the fucking shit that we need for fucking drug abuse.
What?
Cocaine.
What?
Oh, fucking good now. What do you want?
I love you.
Cheater. What do you want, cheater?
I love you. I sent you a picture of myself in a bikini.
Yeah, well send me a naked picture of you. Because you obviously already did that to Eric.
Really sexy and hot, but you told me not to because of Maria. And
send me a naked picture of you.
And I'm skinny. Really skinny.
Well, Eric's the only one who gets a naked picture of you.
You know what?
Eric is the only one. What?
Did you get my naked picture, baby?
Yeah, well, Eric's already got your naked picture.
Did you get it?
Nope.
I sent.
But Eric did.
I look really white and skinny and sexy with big titties.
There it is, baby.
Yeah, well, Eric knows what you look like naked.
Do you like it?
Fuck them ninja.
Yeah. Did you like my picture?
Bye. What do you want, cheater?
Did you like my picture?
What do you want, cheater?
I want to know if you like it.
Doesn't matter. Eric's already fucked you.
I know. I'm sorry, baby.
Bye. What the fuck do you want? You don't fucking love me. Fuck Eric again, you slut. Fuck Eric again, you slut.
What?
Come again, Lord?
Again, you slut.
What?
The fuck do you want?
I'm sorry.
What the fuck do you fucking want?
I'm sorry, baby. I'm a slut.
You're not fucking sorry. You're a slut. You don't love me. You love being a slut.
I know.
Yeah. So, why don't you do this right now? Do this for me right now.
Okay.
Go up to Eric and tell him you have a small fucking penis about the size of a fucking beetle bug.
Eric, I have a small penis. My penis is the size of a beetle bug.
No, yeah, yours? Tell me. Oh, fuck you. You're fucking fake it. Fuck you. You have had reached reality, real life, where people have actual real feelings.
What?
If you're looking for somebody else, then
You told me to tell him I have a small penis.
I told you to say that he has a small penis. But you don't have a fucking penis. Don't play stupid. Bye. What?
I love you. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did wrong.
You mean like fuck Eric? You don't know what you did wrong when
I didn't.
Eric?
I didn't.
You told me you did.
No, I did not.
Oh my God, that mini
You know what you did wrong when
I didn't.
Eric?
I didn't.
You told me you did.
No, I did not.
Well, you told me you did.
No, I did not.
One more time.
Well, you told me you did.
No, I did not.
You just fucking told me that you did.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I am telling you right now. If you lie to me one more time and I find out about it,
I like him, one of those weirdos.
You are fucking history in my book.
You're writing another book, baby?
Do not ever fucking lie to me. Don't try to fucking turn things on me. Nothing. I'm fucking telling you. You better pay very close attention to this, because I'm sick of your fucking lies already. You want to keep me? You better start telling me the truth. Regardless if it's going to hurt me, at least you will be telling me the truth. If you're telling me the truth, then you're still going to keep me.
Sorry?
If you lie to me, I'm leaving.
What?
Start telling me the truth.
About what?
And by the way, this fucking guy, Eric, you can tell him that I am going to fucking meet him one day. And I am going to fucking kick his fucking ass for running his mouth.
Eric, Lauren's gonna beat your ass.
Tell Lauren to start being more nice to you.
Yes.
Be more nice to me.
Quit yelling.
Tell Winnie to stop lying to me.
I'm not. Eric, did we fuck?
No.
See?
Tell Winnie to stop lying to me. And tell her I'm still going to fucking kick his ass for trying to be a fucking tough guy to me.
Eric, you're gonna get an ass beaten from Lauren for being a tough guy.
How long is it going to take him? Because he's kind of old.
I don't know. Ask him.
This is going to be a fucking time to be a fucking smart ass to me. I'm telling you that. I am fucking emphasizing that.
Eric, Lauren's gonna beat you up. Better leave him alone.
He could try to, but I don't think he'll beat me up.
I've been texting him.
Oh. Tell Eric what he thinks and what is actually going to happen. It's going to be two different stories.
Eric, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Isn't that the bald pedo guy, the good-looking one?
Tell that faggot shut up.
Is he going to come out with his walker to try to beat me up?
He doesn't have a walker.
He's pretty old.
Eric, Eric, I'm fucking 47. And I'm a lot stronger than you are.
He's
probably want to shut your fucking mouth, you fucking faggot.
You said you're 57 and you're old?
No, he's 47.
I think he said 57.
He's 40.
Oh, no, I said 47.
57?
And even if I was 57, Eric, I'd still whoop your goddamn ass, so you might want to shut up, you stupid little bitch.
Are you going to come out in your wheelchair?
Oh, I want to come on. The only one that's going to have a fucking wheelchair is you.
How about your oxygen tank? Will it get in the way when we fight?
Eric, I'm very much remembering what your voice sounds like.
Is your mom even going to let you out of the house to fight?
So when I meet you, you little fucking bitch, you can guarantee your voice is going to be in a wheelchair. It's not really good condition at all.
What?
Take me off speaker now.
Is your mom alive or dead, old man?
Shut up, you fucking bitch! Before I wind up fucking killing you.
No, shut
What?
up,
Is that why you fuck her?
Oh.
That motherfucker say shit to me?
Is your mom
Are you
alive?
fucking kidding?
Hey, don't talk about my mom like that.
What?
Hi.
You gonna let that fucking piece of shit
What?
shit about my mother?
What?
You are going to let that piece of shit say shit about my mother?
What am I supposed to
I'm
do?
gonna fucking kill him when
I'm a girl.
Lauren, just easy.
What?
Shit about my mother?
What?
You are going to let that piece of shit say shit about my mother?
What am I supposed to
I'm
do?
gonna fucking kill him when
I'm a girl.
fucking meet that. I'm going to meet that motherfucker, and I'm gonna fucking beat the little fuck out of him.
Don't say stuff about Lauren's
You
mom.
can't fucking stick up for your own family.
Oh my god, I just heard that.
What do you want me to do? He's gonna punch me.
Your own family?
Isn't it past your bedtime, old man?
There it is. There we go.
Hang on.
What do you want, cheater?
Why do you keep calling me a cheater?
Well, because you're sticking up for your fucking boyfriend there.
I wish I had a boyfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, you had one, but you found a new one.
Okay.
Right there. He's right there with you in the fucking house.
That's my old boyfriend. I want a new one.
Oh, same one that you were cheating on me with.
I want a better one now.
Well, maybe you should pay attention.
To what?
I'm not playing you.
Alright. That was about it. So, let's see. I think... no. Like that. We're gonna do... Are you guys ready for some Mr. Bowling? Let's see, I'm trying to pick a good one. Well, I have two good ones. And decide which one. There we go.
Did you know that the FBI has a world-class code-breaking team? Basically, their job is to decode any encrypted evidence. So imagine coming across a piece of evidence that appears to have secret messages embedded inside of it. It's the job of these brainiacs on the decoding team to go in there and figure out what those secret messages are. Now, this decoding...
So we're going to watch Dead Man's Riddle Still Haunts the FBI by Mr. Ballin.
Team is incredibly good, but periodically they do run into riddles, if you will, that are just way too difficult and they can't figure them out. And when this happens, they will often appeal to the public and say, hey, anyone out there, if you can solve this riddle, let us know. And so today's story will involve one of those types of impossible riddles. And if you stay till the end of the video, you'll actually see the mystifying evidence. And I'll show you where you need to go online to literally help the FBI solve this riddle. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you, the next time the like button takes their full kitchen trash bag out to go out to the dumpster, immediately throw an open container of clam chowder into their empty can before they can come back and put a new bag in. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't...
Dude, I feel that. I just don't feel like going out ever anymore. Honestly, one of those weirdos. But I'm glad that you're sober, bro. That's awesome.
Don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story.
Here we go.
At around 5 o'clock in the evening on June 25th, 1999, a man named Ricky McCormick stumbled into an emergency room in St. Louis, Missouri, with his hand over his chest, complaining that he couldn't breathe. He said he had asthma, and earlier that day he had been cutting the grass, and so maybe that had caused a flare-up. But either way, here he was in a lot of discomfort, saying, you know, I need help. Ricky was 41 years old, and for his whole life, he had had heart and lung problems, and so him arriving in this state in the ER was actually not all that uncommon for him. And so this hospital did what they did with anyone who came in complaining that they couldn't breathe. They immediately took Ricky to a back exam room and they hooked him up to all these monitors to make sure his heartbeat was steady and that his oxygen levels were plenty high. And once Ricky was in the exam room getting hooked up, he started acting really agitated and he kept looking around the room like he was scared that someone was going to jump out at him. And he...
Look at this stupid fuck that showed up, Doc.
Was also sweating profusely, and whenever he did speak, he spoke so quickly no one could really understand him. But despite Ricky's odd behavior, the heart monitor showed his heart was beating steadily, his oxygen levels were perfectly fine, and when the doctor came in and examined Ricky, even though he clearly saw that something was off about Ricky, there wasn't any sign that there was anything physically wrong with Ricky. And so the doctor and the nurses agreed that whatever was going on with Ricky had to be psychological. And as it happened, Ricky did have a long history of psychological issues. He was known for making things up all the time, just telling people these crazy stories about himself, like how he was this talented singer and he was about to go on tour, or that he was actually a prince, or that he was studying to be a doctor. I mean, things that nobody thought was true, but Ricky would say as if this is just common knowledge. This is who I am. And so Ricky's family for the longest time had just assumed that Ricky was either bipolar or maybe schizophrenic. Those are both serious mental health disorders that totally disrupt normal thinking. But Ricky, despite being encouraged by his friends and family to go get help, never got help for any of his psychological issues. And so Ricky's life had kind of gone off the rails. He had dropped out of high school and not gone back to any sort of schooling, and he had spent some time in jail. Now, Ricky was living in a low-income, very dangerous part of St. Louis, which is a big Midwestern city on the Mississippi River that in 1999 had a very serious issue with gang violence. Ricky absolutely hated it there, but he had no way to actually leave St. Louis. In fact, Ricky didn't even have his own place. He bounced around from his mother's place, his aunt's place, and his girlfriend's place. Ricky did work, but the work was very sporadic, and it was for the most part just night shifts for random odd jobs. And when Ricky was actually working, he really just spent his time chain smoking cigarettes and drinking literally gallons of coffee. Back at the ER, Ricky, who was still in the exam room, had only been there for less than an hour when the doctor came back in and told Ricky that he was okay and he was going to be discharged. Now, Ricky immediately said, no, I have to be here tonight. I need to stay here. You need to admit me. But the doctor just kind of ignored what he said and handed him the discharge paperwork. 15 minutes later, when a nurse came back into the exam room to get this paperwork from Ricky, she would walk in and see Ricky still sitting on the exam bed, kind of fidgeting around, looking down at this paperwork on his lap that immediately she saw he had not filled out. He had just signed his name at the bottom. And when she walked in, Ricky looked up at her and he kind of shrugged his shoulders and looked at her and was like, I don't know how to read or write. Can you help me? And so the nurse immediately felt bad for Ricky. I mean, he's got dirty clothes on, he looks thin and frail, he's clearly very down on his luck, there's some issues happening with this guy, and he can't even fill out his discharge paperwork. And so she said, no problem. She sat down with him, and together they filled out his paperwork. And then afterwards, when she walked him out of the exam room back to the front of the hospital, Ricky turned to her and said, instead of going home, can you just let me stay here in the lobby just for tonight? And this nurse, who knew she was not allowed to do this, she looked around and saw it was not a busy night there. And so she said, okay, as long as you don't bother anyone, you can stay here. And so Ricky thanked her repeatedly and then walked over to the corner, kind of far away from the front desk and far away from the front door. And he sat down and folded his arms, and then he just stared at the front door. And so this nurse assumed that Ricky actually must be homeless, especially based on, how he came in and how he was acting. And so she figured, he needs a place that's warm to stay tonight. And so the nurse went back to her station, and over the course of the next several hours, she would periodically look out into the lobby, expecting to see Ricky kind of curled up asleep in the corner. But every time she looked out there, Ricky was still sitting upright, arms folded, staring at the front door of the hospital as if he was expecting someone to come in at any moment and he needed to be ready. And so she thought this was unusual, but she decided not to intervene. She just let him sit there and do his thing. Later that morning at 11:30 a.m., when the nice nurse who had allowed Ricky to stay in the lobby was leaving her shift, another crew of nurses came in, and right away they noticed Ricky was just sitting in the corner for no apparent reason. And when they walked up to him to ask if he was okay, what are you doing here? What can we do for you? Ricky, instead of trying to talk to any of these nurses, just got up and walked out of the hospital. After leaving the hospital, Ricky walked to a nearby payphone and he called his girlfriend, Sandy. And when Sandy picked up the phone, she immediately recognized her boyfriend's very familiar voice, but she also picked up that he sounded really tired and kind of out of it. And so when she asked him, are you okay? What's going on? Ricky would tell her that he had just spent the night in the hospital. But he didn't clarify that he had spent the night in the lobby of the hospital, not admitted as a patient at the hospital. But to Sandy, it really didn't matter because already this was raising red flags for her, because this was actually the second time that Ricky had gone to the ER just that week. Just a few days earlier, Ricky had been released from a different hospital in St. Louis after telling doctors there that he had had these chest pains and he couldn't breathe. And so he had been admitted for a couple of days, but ultimately they determined that there really was nothing wrong with him. And they too believed whatever was happening with him had to be psychological. And so he had been released. Additionally, Sandy had been growing increasingly worried about Ricky because over the last several weeks, Ricky had begun acting really paranoid, to the point where anytime he was in her apartment and somebody outside the apartment just walked down the hallway, Ricky would jump as if he was worried whoever was out there was going to barge in at any moment. But whenever Sandy asked Ricky, what's going on? Why are you so paranoid? He refused to elaborate. So, feeling very concerned about Ricky, on this phone call, Sandy would say to Ricky, please come to my apartment and let me take care of you. If you're not feeling well, I'll make you feel better. Just please come to my apartment right now. But Ricky said no, he did not want to go to Sandy's apartment. He told her instead he was going to walk to a nearby gas station to get a bite to eat, and then afterwards he would give Sandy a call. And so the two of them agreed to this plan. They hung up. But then Ricky did not call Sandy later. A worker at the gas station where Ricky said he was going would later tell authorities that Ricky did come into the gas station and he got a hot dog on that day, the 26th. And then the next day, this same worker said, yep, we saw Ricky again on the 27th. He came in here, he got a bite to eat, and then he left. But after that, nobody saw Ricky. Not his aunt, not his mom, not his girlfriend. He didn't show up in any other emergency rooms in Missouri. He just disappeared. On June 30th, so 3 days after Ricky was last seen at this gas station, a woman was driving her car 20 miles north of St. Louis on this highway when she looked out into this cornfield that butted up against the highway, and she saw kind of in the middle of it was this dark shape that looked totally out of place. And so she was intrigued enough that she actually pulled over on the road, she got out, and began walking into this cornfield to see what this thing was. And when she got up to this thing and saw what it was, she froze in horror, and then she screamed, turned around, and ran back to her car, and she flew to the nearest gas station, she grabbed a payphone, and she called 911. When the police arrived at this cornfield, they too walked out towards this dark thing, and then finally they saw what this thing was that had scared this woman. It was a dead person who was lying face down. Their body was very badly decomposed. And in fact, their body was just kind of falling apart. Like the fingers of this person's body had just kind of crumpled off of their hands. Now, based on what this person was wearing, they appeared to be male, but there was no way to tell how this person died or really how long they had been dead for. But despite the advanced decomposition, authorities were able to get a good fingerprint, and it would turn out that this body belonged to Ricky McCormick. The day after Ricky's body was found, the police would come out and say they were treating his death as a homicide. This area along this highway in this cornfield was actually a fairly common place for murderers to dump their victims. And it was very unlikely that Ricky had gotten there by himself. He didn't have a car. In fact, he didn't even have a driver's license. There was no public transportation that could have brought him to this spot. And if Ricky had decided to walk to this area for some reason, it was a solid 15 miles from where he lived and worked. Also, Ricky's body was way too decomposed relative to when he had last been seen alive, just 3 days earlier. And so there was a theory that perhaps he was killed somewhere else and then kept indoors in heat, and that had accelerated his decomposition, and that at some point whoever had killed him had moved his body and dumped it in this cornfield. And so on that first day of the homicide investigation, July 1st, the police put 18 detectives, so a ton of detectives, on this case, and they also appealed to the public to come forward if you had any information about what could have happened to Ricky McCormick. But just a day later, on July 2nd, the police came out and made an announcement that, after looking at all the evidence and looking at Ricky's body again, it did not appear, in fact, that he had been murdered, but instead he must have died of natural causes. This is a guy that had lung and heart problems, and so that is likely what killed him. Case closed. And so after this announcement, all of the evidence in Ricky's case was bundled up, put into storage, and people just kind of forgot about it. 6 months later, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, got a tip that involved Ricky McCormick. They were working on a case in St. Louis, Missouri about this major drug dealer who apparently was ordering hits on his rivals, and a confidential informant came forward and told the FBI that this guy, Ricky McCormick, had gotten wrapped up with this major drug dealer. But they didn't really know what role Ricky was playing with this drug dealer. It was just kind of a rumor on the street that, Ricky was involved somehow. This did not make any sense to the FBI because they're thinking, why would this big-time drug dealer who really was a mover and shaker in St. Louis get involved with this guy, Ricky McCormick, who was obviously deeply mentally ill and borderline homeless? I mean, what role could Ricky play for this drug dealer? But the FBI still did follow up on this tip because it was very credible, and when they spoke to the local police who had investigated Ricky's death, they got Ricky's file, which meant they got all of the evidence, and immediately the FBI realized the local police had overlooked a very strange piece of evidence found in Ricky's pocket. This strange evidence was quickly sent to FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia, and it landed on the desk of a forensic analyst named Dan Olson. Dan was relatively new to the FBI, but he was highly disciplined and very methodical. And so when he received this piece of evidence, he got to work right away trying to figure out what it was, what it meant in relationship to Ricky and this drug dealer, and maybe does it answer the question of how these people are connected. But despite his best efforts in calling in the experts and using every computer program to analyze this evidence, he just could not figure out what it meant. At the same time that Dan was doing this, the big drug dealer who was the target of that big FBI investigation in St. Louis was arrested on gun and drug charges, and so the big case was now over. And suddenly, trying to figure out what connection Ricky McCormick had to this drug dealer was kind of irrelevant, because the drug dealer was behind bars and Ricky was already dead. And so the FBI kind of put a pause on trying to figure out what this evidence was. And so Dan, even though he was really curious now, he was fully invested in trying to figure out what this thing was, he realized he had to give it up too and move on to something else. And so the strange evidence went back into storage, and once again, everyone just kind of moved on from Ricky McCormick. But Dan never really forgot about this mystifying piece of evidence. It was always in the back of his mind. 22 years later, Dan Olson had now become very senior at the FBI. He was actually in charge of their cryptanalysis and racketeering unit. Basically, he was in charge of the people at the FBI who specialized in code breaking, meaning they were the people that would pull any sort of secret messages embedded inside of evidence. And so at some point after taking over this unit, Dan pulled out of storage this strange piece of evidence connected to Ricky McCormick, and he said, you know what? I just need to know what this means. I have to figure it out. I've never been able to. It's haunted me ever since. And so Dan went public. He went to the media and he asked the world to take a look at this mystifying piece of evidence and come forward if you have any idea what it means. When Ricky was discovered in that cornfield, the local police quickly emptied his pockets. And in his pants pocket were 2 documents that contained an incredibly complex cipher or code. It was basically 30 lines on each piece of paper with different symbols and letters and capital letters. I mean, it looked like total gibberish to the untrained eye. But to people like Dan and his code-breaking team, these symbols and letters could mean there was a secret message hidden inside of these documents if you could break the code system. But of course, no one could ever break that code. So how in the world does a guy like Ricky, who is basically functionally illiterate and can only write his name, he's clearly mentally ill and he's not really in touch with reality all the time, how does a guy like that come to be in possession of these complex ciphers? And if he didn't write these ciphers, because that's possible, maybe somebody else gave them to Ricky, well, why would anyone who came up with this very complex cipher entrust a guy like Ricky to be the one to carry these things around? I mean, presumably, they contain confidential information that's been very carefully hidden inside of the cipher. And so why give it to Ricky? He's such a liability. And also, what happened to Ricky in that cornfield? I mean, we don't even know how he got there. We don't know how he was killed. All we know is that he had these ciphers in his pocket when he was found. And so many people believe, including law enforcement, that the answer to, what happened to Ricky and what was his connection to this drug lord in St. Louis, if any, or, what was he up to, will all be solved if we can just figure out what these 2 ciphers mean. But as of right now, no one has solved the riddle of what these 2 ciphers mean. All we know is that Ricky McCormick, a couple of weeks before he died, became increasingly paranoid and was so scared of someone or something that he was likely running into these hospitals just to hide out. But eventually, whoever or whatever Ricky was scared of very likely caught up to him and killed him. But until we crack these ciphers, we very likely will have no idea what actually happened to Ricky McCormick. Today, the FBI has set up a special website where you can look at these 2 ciphers that Ricky had in his pocket, and if you're able to crack them, because someone's going to eventually, you can tell the FBI through this website and potentially help solve Ricky's murder. To go to this FBI website, click the link in the description below. So that's going to do it. If you enjoyed today's story,
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, shit. Let's see. I think I have one more. Let's see. Yep.
there are lots of paranormal stories floating around the internet. However, very few are credible. Today, we're going to look at one that is. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once
I'm having fun hanging out with y'all tonight.
a week. So,
Thanks for stopping by.
if that's of interest to you, please offer to make the like button a tuna sandwich, but instead of tuna, use a can of cat food. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story. In the early evening of January 23rd, 1897, a blacksmith named Erasmus Shue stoked his fire inside of his little shop in rural West Virginia and then called out to his 11-year-old helper who was in the back cleaning up. Erasmus had been planning to head home early that night. However, a last-minute order for horseshoes had just come in, and so Erasmus knew that was not going to happen. He was going to have to work late. And so he was calling for his helper to send the helper to his home, Erasmus's home, to check on Erasmus's wife, Zona. He wanted to make sure that, one, Zona knew he would be late, and two, if Zona needed anything, the helper could go out and get it for her or help around the house or whatever she needed. After the helper had left, Erasmus went back to poking at his fire, but his mind was not on the horseshoes he needed to make. Instead, it was on his wife, Zona. The couple hadn't told anyone yet, but Zona was pregnant. Erasmus and Zona had only just met a couple of months earlier.
Hey, Rageville version.
But they had fallen in love very quickly. Zona was 23 years old, and she had beautiful dark hair and dark eyes and a quick sense of humor. She was a total free spirit who
I might have a bear story for today.
had grown up on a farm, and she had never really been away from home. When Erasmus had arrived in the little village called Livesey's Mill, which was located near a river at the foot of this mountain and was right near where Zona lived, he and Zona had noticed each other right away. Erasmus, who was quite a bit older than Zona, he was 35 years old, was tall and handsome with piercing blue eyes, and he had come to this little rural town to set up his blacksmith shop. And to Zona, he was like this amazing, new, exciting thing. Zona's family, especially her mother, Mary Jane, did not approve of the fact that Zona and Erasmus had begun seeing each other, mostly because Mary Jane didn't like the fact that Erasmus was so much older than Zona. But Zona was known for being incredibly stubborn, and she loved Erasmus, and so there was just no stopping her. So, in November, just a couple of months after meeting each other,
Have a good night, my friend, Outdoor Loser. Thank you for stopping by. Means a lot.
Zona and Erasmus
Have a good night, my friend.
got married, and they moved into a little house together, and very quickly, Zona got pregnant. And both she and Erasmus were so excited about this that they wanted to go around and tell people, but early on, it was clear Zona had some complications with this pregnancy. She was sick all the time, and she just seemed really unwell, and the doctor who was seeing her knew that it likely had to do with her pregnancy. And so the couple decided that they should just wait and let the pregnancy develop a bit before announcing the news. So, on this late January day, Erasmus began hustling to finish these horseshoes because he really wanted to get home and be there for Zona and make sure she really was okay. And so as Erasmus thought about Zona, the steel he was heating inside of this fire was glowing bright orange.
Oh yeah, y'all. Have a great and safe Memorial Day weekend.
And was ready
Don't do something majestic with it.
to be forged into shape. And so
Or do the stuff that Majestic would do.
Erasmus got his hammer and he got to work. Meanwhile, Erasmus's 11-year-old helper had arrived at Erasmus and Zona's house, and the helper walked through the gate up to the front door of this little 2-story home, and he knocked on the front door. But Zona did not come to the door, which the helper thought was odd, because Zona was someone who was always bustling around the home and was very quick to open the door and chat with neighbors. And now, standing in front of this door, the helper couldn't even hear a sound inside of the house. It was like no one was home. And so the helper knocked again, and after some more silence, he just reached down and tried the doorknob and found it was unlocked, and so he swung the door in. And right away, the helper noticed that the house was totally dark. None of the lamps were lit, even though the sun was setting fast. And so the helper stepped inside of the house and continued to call out for Mrs. Shu, but there was no answer. And at some point, as the helper turned a corner and looked towards the base of the stairs that led up to the second level, he froze, because lying on the ground was Zona. She was lying perpendicular to how the stairs run, on her back with one arm over her chest, like she was sleeping at the foot of the stairs. And so at this point, the helper is scared. He doesn't know what's going on here. Obviously something is wrong. And so very slowly, the helper began moving closer and closer to Zona. And when he was practically right on top of her, he yelled out her name one more time. And when she didn't call back and her chest wasn't moving and she was just totally still, he knew obviously something was terribly wrong. And so the helper at this point turned around and sprinted out of the house and ran back to his own house. And when he got there, he ran inside and he told his mother that he thought Mrs. Shu, Zona, was dead. And so the mother told the helper, run back to the blacksmith shop and tell Erasmus to go home right now. I'll get the doctor. It would take the local doctor, the same one who had been treating Zona for her pregnancy complications, almost an hour to finally get to Zona's house. And when the doctor arrived, he found the 11-year-old helper and
Hey, Decon versus Dark. What's up, my brother?
his mother and other neighbors kind of clustered around in the first floor of the home. And then when he went up to the second floor into the master bedroom, he found Erasmus, who by this point had returned, and he was sitting on his bed, and he had laid out his wife, Zona, so that she was on her back and her head was in his arms, and he was stroking her hair and rocking back and forth and crying. Whoa. The doctor, of course, knew Zona and Erasmus very well because of how often he had been treating Zona for her pregnancy issues over these last few weeks, and so he felt a pit of sadness looking at this scene, but he knew he had to do his job, and so he gently walked over and he put his hand on Erasmus's shoulder and he just said, you know, I need to examine Zona's body. And Erasmus at this point, he didn't even look up. He just continued to sob and rock back and forth while stroking her hair. Finally, the doctor kind of was a bit more forceful in asking Erasmus to step aside, at which point Erasmus did. He got out of the way and positioned Zona flat on the bed, and he made sure her hair was perfectly combed all around her neck. And then Erasmus knelt down right next to the bed and continued stroking his wife's hair and crying, while the doctor at this point kind of moved to the foot of the bed and began looking at Zona and beginning his examination. And the doctor would quickly confirm that yes, Zona was dead. And after looking at her pelvis and kind of moving her around, the doctor came to the conclusion that very likely Zona had passed away from pregnancy complications. Zona's funeral would be held the next day at the local cemetery at the top of this hilltop. And by this point, the word had gotten out that Zona had been pregnant when she died. And so during this funeral, everybody was staring at Erasmus, who was overcome with grief and crying so hard that he could barely catch his breath. And then right before they lowered Zona's casket into the ground, Erasmus made a point of putting his wife's favorite scarf into the coffin with her. He said his final goodbyes, he shut the casket, and then it was lowered into the ground. But while the mourners were obviously very moved by just how unbelievably grief-stricken Erasmus was, I mean, his whole family was wiped out in one blow, what really stood out to the people that attended that funeral was not Erasmus's reaction to his wife's death, but rather Zona's mother's reaction to Erasmus. During this funeral, Mary Jane, Zona's mother, didn't seem sad or grief-stricken or in any way reacting to the fact that her daughter had died. Instead, as the funeral went on, Mary Jane shamelessly glared at Erasmus with a look of pure hate and disgust on her face. And then, after the funeral was over, all the mourners wanted to go up to Mary Jane and Erasmus to pay their final respects to the family, but Mary Jane ignored all these people and promptly left the funeral without saying a word to anyone.
He's so weird.
Lately, me and old Seagull Lung have been eating pretty healthy, and so we decided last Friday to finally have a cheat meal. And so for hours we deliberated over which delicious food we were going to enjoy, and we settled on a piping hot plate of eagle tonsils and a couple of hunks of undercooked cheetah meat. Now, the next morning when we woke up, we expected to feel
Okay, anyways.
And in the days that followed Zona's funeral, Mary Jane's behavior only continued to get more and more bizarre. When neighbors would drop by Mary Jane's house to drop off food or just check in on her, Mary Jane refused to come to the door. Mary Jane basically began staying up all night. People would see there were candles lit in her bedroom at all hours, and they'd see her pacing around her room and then periodically kneeling on the ground and kind of staring off into the distance. And then on the rare occasion that
That's weird.
Mary Jane actually left her house, she would look totally disheveled and distracted, and as she walked around town, she'd be mumbling under her breath and constantly looking over her shoulder like she was scared someone was following her. And when concerned neighbors came up to Mary when she was out of her house, she refused to make eye contact with them, didn't want to talk to them, and as fast as she could would get away from them. Whatever was going on with Mary Jane, her husband was not willing to talk about it to other people in town. However, they did notice that he had begun sleeping in the barn, so he was not even staying in the house with his wife. And then, on the morning of February 21st, so about a month after Zona had died, Mary Jane walked out of her house looking totally clean-cut. She was not disheveled, she was not looking over her shoulder, she wasn't muttering to herself, she was standing tall, moving with a purpose, looking totally coherent, and as she moved, the only emotion people could see on her face was anger. And so Mary Jane, angrily, walking with a purpose, walked her way to the local prosecutor's office, and instead of knocking and waiting to be let inside, she just opened the door and barged right inside. The prosecutor knew Mary Jane and knew how strange she had been acting over these last few weeks, and so when she came inside, he was alarmed at her sudden presence, but he was also pretty curious as to what was going on. And so when she came in and demanded to speak to him, he was happy to go into his office and take a meeting kind of simply out of curiosity. But once the two of them sat down in his office, Mary Jane proceeded to tell this prosecutor this totally outlandish story about her dead daughter, Zona, that at first made the prosecutor think, okay, clearly Mary Jane has lost her mind. That's what's been going on over the past few weeks. All this grief of losing her daughter has caused her to kind of snap. But by the end of these 2 hours that Mary Jane seemed to just be kind of rambling about this story about her daughter, the prosecutor started to realize that what she was saying kind of made a lot of sense, and his suspicions began to rise and rise. And so once Mary Jane was done telling this wild story about Zona, the prosecutor was convinced that what Mary Jane was saying had to be true, and so he knew they needed to dig Zona up. And so after Mary Jane had left, the prosecutor ran to the local doctor's house, the same doctor who had been treating Zona and then also looked at her after she died. And the prosecutor would tell the doctor that, hey, we need to exhume Zona and you need to examine her again. And the doctor at first was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But then after hearing what the prosecutor had to say about this crazy story that Mary Jane had just told him, the doctor agreed that, okay, yeah, we do need to do this. And so the next day, February 22nd, a team of men with shovels, along with the prosecutor and the doctor, headed up to the Hilltop Cemetery where Zona was buried, and they dug her casket up, and then they carried the casket down to the local schoolhouse, and then once she was inside, the workers lifted her body, which was fairly well preserved because the ground was so cold. They lifted her body out and they placed it on a table, and then everybody left except for the doctor and the prosecutor. And once the room was clear, the doctor and the prosecutor began examining Zona all over again. And within about 30 seconds of this re-examination of Zona's body, basically at the exact same time, the doctor and the prosecutor, who were on either sides of the body, saw the thing that Mary Jane had alluded to in her wild story about her daughter. And so the doctor and the prosecutor, they're seeing this thing, they look up at each other and they can't believe it. Mary Jane's story had to be true. The following is Mary Jane's wild story On the day of Zona's funeral, even though Mary Jane was overcome with grief over losing her daughter, the feeling that she really was harboring was hatred towards Erasmus. She hated Erasmus. She had always hated him. But now it was like her daughter is dead and she's forced to watch this guy sob and cry over her daughter's casket, when in her mind, she's like, this funeral is about her. It's not about you. And so the whole funeral, she's just staring at Erasmus, channeling all of her energy towards hating him. But then, as she's doing this, a new emotion began to creep up on her that she couldn't quite describe. Basically, it felt like something was terribly wrong. And intuitively, Mary Jane felt like the only person who could explain what this thing was that was wrong kind of in her life somewhere was her daughter, Zona, who was obviously dead. And so this feeling that something is terribly wrong, it completely consumed Mary Jane's mind. And so by the end of the funeral, she wasn't mad at Erasmus. She was just thinking, how do I get in touch with my daughter? I need to get answers from my daughter. And so when the funeral ended, Mary Jane just left the funeral as fast as she could. She went home, she went into her bedroom, and she knelt down and she began to pray. Not for peace or strength in this difficult time, but instead, she prayed for her daughter's ghost to appear to her and tell her what was wrong. And for the next month, that is all Mary Jane did. She was obsessed with this idea that she needed to basically conjure her daughter's ghost to tell her what this thing was that was wrong. And so that was why she was acting totally crazy. All she did was pray and then look for signs that her daughter's ghost had come or was on her way. And so she'd be up all night kind of looking around, hoping her daughter would suddenly appear. And then when she would go outside, the reason she was muttering is because she was still praying under her breath, and she was always looking over her shoulders because she thought her daughter would appear any moment. And then finally, one night in the middle of February, so this is a month into Mary Jane's attempts to conjure her daughter's ghost, she was in her room, she was praying like she normally did with all of her candles lit, and all of a sudden, as she's kneeling down praying, this bright light appears in the middle of her room. And as this light suddenly appeared, the room began to get really cold. And Mary Jane is staring at this light thinking, this is my daughter. But then just as quickly as the light and the cold that came with it had appeared, it disappeared. And so Mary Jane was both really excited because she felt like, okay, the prayers are working. That had to be my daughter's ghost or some sign that my daughter's ghost is going to come here. And so Mary Jane just doubled down on her prayers. She knew she was close to getting her daughter to show up. And so over the next 2 days, that bright light would appear 2 more times, and each time it would just quickly disappear. But again, Mary Jane is thinking, okay, something's happening, my prayers are working. And then finally, on the 4th night, as Mary Jane is in her bedroom praying, the light appears in the middle of her room. It starts to get cold, but then instead of the light disappearing, Mary Jane would describe seeing her daughter kind of step out of this light and suddenly appear in the room. Mary Jane said that her daughter was dressed all in black and her skin was very pale and her eyes were these dark pits and her hair was straight down right over her shoulders, and she was staring at her mother. And Mary Jane, when she saw this, even though she had been trying for a month to get her daughter's ghost to appear, now that it seemed to be happening, she was terrified. And so Mary Jane began backing up right as this ghost begins walking towards Mary Jane. But then Mary Jane, as she's up against the wall, tells herself, you have to be strong. You need to talk to the ghost. You need to figure out what's wrong. And the only question that Mary Jane was able to come up with was, how did you die? And when she asked this question, Zona's ghost came to a stop. And then when Zona opened her mouth, dirt poured out. And then with a raspy, low voice, she began to tell her mother a story. She told her that Erasmus appeared to be this wonderful person to the community, but behind closed doors, he was a monster. He hit her and screamed at her over the littlest things. And then on the night of January 22nd, so one day before Zona would be discovered at the base of the stairs by Erasmus's helper, Zona's ghost would tell Mary Jane that Erasmus had become enraged at Zona over the food she had made that night for dinner. He had wanted meat and she had made something else, and so he was furious. And when Zona tried to tell Erasmus that she would make more food or there was other food for him to eat, to just please calm down, Erasmus stood up and he grabbed Zona by the neck and he lifted.
Is anyone else kind of freaked out?
To just please calm down, Erasmus stood up and he grabbed Zona by the neck and he lifted her off the ground. And right at this moment in this story that Zona's ghost is telling Mary Jane, the ghost would stop speaking, and this look of abject terror would come across the ghost's face, as if she was suddenly reliving this moment that happened with Erasmus. And as she's standing there with this horrible look on her face, the ghost began to levitate off the ground, and then it opened its mouth. And as it did, no sound came out, but instead, it was like all the air in the room was getting sucked into this ghost's open mouth. And then all of a sudden, there was this loud cracking sound as the ghost's head suddenly violently whipped around 180 degrees, but the ghost's body was still facing towards Mary Jane. And
Oh, you can fuck off. Not that exorcist bullshit. You can fuck off with that shit.
after this happened, Mary Jane is sitting there totally
fuck me.
dumbstruck, and the ghost suddenly drops back down onto the ground, still with their chest facing Mary Jane, but their face
Fucking god damn it.
pointing behind them. And then Zona's ghost turned around and began walking out of the room and
Exorcist! Get that exorcist in there.
because she had turned her body around,
Get Jesus
that
in
meant
there.
her head, which was facing the wrong way, was now oriented towards Mary Jane again, and Mary Jane would say the ghost was smiling, and then right before Zona's ghost left, she would say to her mother, "Now do you see what he did to me?" And then Zona just vanished, and the room became warm again, and Mary Jane, who was suddenly feeling so exhausted, just sat down on the bed and wept. Mary Jane had, the next morning, promptly gotten up and rushed to the prosecutor's office and told him the story of seeing her daughter's ghost and how the ghost had told her that Erasmus had throttled her and that was what killed her. Now, the prosecutor was really moved by Mary Jane's story, but it was when he rushed to the doctor to ask about re-examining Zona's body to see if she had marks on her neck from where she could have been throttled. That was when the doctor actually told the prosecutor that when he did the examination of Zona's body on the day she was found, he would say that Erasmus spent the entire examination at the head of the bed, cradling Zona's head and brushing her hair. But now that he was thinking about it, he could have been covering up her neck with the hair. And then also they thought about the funeral when, right before Zona was lowered into the ground, Erasmus placed a scarf, claiming it was his wife's favorite, around her neck when she was buried. Again, perhaps trying to conceal the fact that there were marks on her neck. And when they did exhume Zona's body and they removed that scarf that Erasmus
Hey, good night, one of those weirdos. Thanks for stopping by.
had placed, they would see there were marks all over her neck that looked like fingerprints, and then upon further examination, they would see that her neck was actually dislocated and that her windpipe had been crushed. Erasmus would be arrested for the murder of his wife just minutes after the doctor and prosecutor, basically at the same time, saw the marks on Zona's neck during their re-examination. During Erasmus's trial, Mary Jane would take the stand and she would tell the story of her daughter's ghost coming to her and explaining that Erasmus had killed her. And the testimony was so compelling that the jury found Erasmus guilty, even though there was no motive. Basically, they convicted him on the strength of Mary Jane's ghost story. Erasmus would be sentenced to life in prison, but he would die just 3 years after being incarcerated from a mystery illness that passed through the prison. It would also turn out that Erasmus had been married 2 times before marrying Zona. One of his wives had divorced him for being abusive. The other wife died in a freak accident when she was helping Erasmus fix their chimney when all of a sudden a brick fell loose and hit her in the head. Today, there is a plaque right near the cemetery in West Virginia where Zona was buried that reads in part, "Only known case in which testimony from a ghost helped convict a murderer." So that's going to do it. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to check out our podcast, which has hundreds more stories, many of which are not on.
Oh, that was crazy. Hey, Mark Stevens, thanks for stopping by.
On YouTube. They are
Shit. I'm gonna play a little bit.
November 4th, 1980.
It's Animals who took revenge on hunters. So we'll probably get a little. I only have to me.
88. Three friends decide to go hunting on Baranof
There we go.
Island. This island is one of a few in the Alaskan Alexander archipelago that borders Canada. It is a wildlife haven. Humpback whales, dolphins, otters, and porpoises frequent the icy waters. Its northern tip is used by a breeding colony of stellar sea lions. The island is also home to mountain goats, Sitka black-tailed deer, and grizzly bears. Harley Sievenpiper, David Trago, and James Hendricks arrived at the southeastern corner of Baranof Island at Port Alexander for their hunting adventure. They carried with them camping gear, rifles, and ammunition. Their target was the Sitka deer. They were experienced hunters and decided to spread out to cover more ground and find their prey. From Port Alexander, they trekked from the shoreline up into the forest. The beauty of the scenery was stunning. The skies were overcast and gray. A damp drizzle filled the air. While Harley remained closer to the shoreline, the others headed deeper into the forest. As Harley cut up further away from the beach, he came across the perfect hunting ground. The trees opened out into a wide plateau of muskeg or peat bog. It was an ideal place to spot deer that came wandering into the
Look at that view.
clearing from the forest. Quietly, he set down his backpack and raised his rifle, scoping the open expanse.
God damn, I'm country as hell. That's out of country as hell right there.
Following the tree line around the bog, he saw nothing. All was quiet, all was still. Only the occasional bird was heard. Harley lay down on the damp ground, keeping his eyes on the forest clearing. Patiently, he waited. Lying there, he lifted his deer collar to his mouth and blew. It mimicked the sound of a distressed fawn. Harley paused and held his breath. He could hear nothing. He blew the collar once more. He pricked his ears and scanned the tree line. The thrill of the wait was building. Any minute now, a deer could emerge into view. Any minute now, he could have his shot. As he lay there calling, listening, anticipating, he suddenly heard something. He looked to his left to see an enormous brown bear charging at him. There was no warning. There was no time to react. This wasn't a mock charge. The bear was onto him. Harley managed to let out a loud cry as the bear smashed into him, sending his rifle flying into the muskeg. The bear sunk its teeth into Harley's neck. It dug its claws into his shoulders, pinning him to the ground. Harley could hardly breathe. The sheer weight from the bear crushed his bones. The bear's jowls were dripping. Its breath was warm and...
Oh, I could only imagine how bear breath smells. Oh, that would be disgusting.
Wet only inches from his own face. Harley let out an ear-piercing scream as the bear tore flesh from bone. The 700-pound grizzly bear attacked Harley so ferociously that his attempts to fight back were in vain. With the wind knocked from his lungs, the heavy weight of the animal pinning him into the cold, wet peatland, and such vicious bites and slashes, Harley only managed to scream out again and again, a blood-curdling scream that his two friends heard echoing through the forest. Harley was dead within minutes. Hearing their friends' distressed cries, David and James came running. They jumped over logs and dived under branches, calling out Harley's name. They ran as fast as they could, clutching their rifles and tearing through the undergrowth. When they got to the forest clearing, they could see nothing. They could hear nothing, not a cry or a scream, not a growl or a grunt. All was quiet once more, as if nothing had happened. They called out again. Searching around, they found Harley's backpack, right where he had left it. Then they saw it, a sight that shook them to the core. They saw a large pool of fresh blood on the ground. The shrubs had been flattened. They could see the struggle that had ensued. The earth had been torn up and thrown around. The trail of blood led off into the undergrowth. The two men ran as fast as they could to go and find help. They knew that Harley must be dead. They knew that he must have been taken by a bear, and they knew that the same bear was still out there. Sprinting through the rugged terrain, they made it back to Port Alexander. With its prey subdued, the bear had dragged Harley's body for half a mile parallel to the beach, looking for thicker cover to feed at its leisure. The bear then dragged Harley for another mile deeper into the woods. With night closing in, a search and rescue operation wasn't initiated until the following day. Harley's distraught friends sat up all night, waiting and wondering. The thought of their friend being taken so savagely and so suddenly haunted them. The thought that his body was still out there was a chilling one. Fish and Wildlife Trooper Roland Young and Don Clutting, a member of the Sitka Volunteer Fire Department Search and Rescue Squad, headed up the search the next day. They flew down from Sitka to Port Alexander to commence their search. They were joined by a dozen residents of Port Alexander, all eager to help and locate the missing 40-year-old man. David and James led them to the spot where the attack happened. The search and rescue team were able to follow the trail left as the bear dragged Harley away. There was so much blood at the initial site that Roland Young was quite sure that Harley had been killed then and there before being dragged off. The trail was relatively easy to follow. The trodden undergrowth was marked with blood, and as the search team stepped deeper into the woodland, their nerves were on a knife edge. They knew they were getting closer to the bear. They began to find torn pieces of clothing and items belonging to Harley scattered along the trail they were following. His glasses were found on the ground amongst the leaves. His rifle lay submerged in the peat bog. Contents of his pockets strewn to one side. With every rustle in the trees and every chirp from a bird, the team jumped. Their hearts were racing. There was a predator within yards of them, and they were the prey. 3 of the men decided to wait on a nearby ledge, keeping an eye out for an approaching bear. Everyone had their rifles locked, loaded, and raised and ready. The others continued along the trail of blood and torn clothing. Creeping forwards, placing each foot carefully in front of the other, they suddenly heard a menacing growl. Their hearts leapt into their chests, pounding in their rib cages. Peering through the thick tree cover, they could just see the head of a grizzly standing over its kill. It was staring right at the 3 men on the ledge and went charging towards them. The others who had approached it from amongst the trees felt the bear rush past them. Its feet thundered on the damp ground. Its tremendous speed and power forced bushes and branches to the earth. They aimed their guns and shot the bear. The first shots hit the bear directly in the ribs, but the great animal didn't even flinch. It continued to bound towards the 3 horrified men. With nowhere to go, they were trapped. Another 2 shots fired. This time, it struck the bear near the shoulder, and it fell to the ground just 3 feet from the search team. They fired once more into the animal's skull. The search and rescue team were shaken by the close call. The bear had nearly charged them down. The fearlessness and aggression displayed by this mighty and powerful grizzly had unnerved the team. Then came the devastating and harrowing job of moving Harley's remains from where they lay. He had been mostly devoured by the bear. It seems it had been a predatory attack rather than one of territorial dominance. Mock charges are common when territory has been encroached upon. If a bear does follow through with an attack, it often walks away after the initial attack if it considers you were no longer a threat. In the case of Harley, this had been the first fatal bear encounter in Southeast Alaska for more than a decade. On average, deadly bear attacks occur once every 3 or 4 years in Alaska. Between 2000 and 2017, there were 66 bear attacks in Alaska. Sadly, 10 of these proved fatal. But everyone knows that when you enter bear country, you do so at your own risk. This time, the hunter became the hunted, and sadly, met his terrifying final affliction. The tiger weighs over 500 pounds and can grow to be 3 meters or 10 feet long from nose to tail. With sharp canine teeth over 3 inches long, it can tear apart entire limbs in a single bite. The Siberian tiger is known to possess a particularly vengeful and begrudging attitude towards anyone that dares cross its path, man or beast. With a cunning mind to match, it can remember encounters for weeks and plan elaborate plots to follow and hunt its prey. Once a near
Yeah, that's a fun fact if you didn't know that about tigers.
extinct species, the predator, also known
They know revenge.
as the Amur tiger, had come back to life through conservation efforts and repopulated the province of Primoria near the world's largest undammed river, the Amur River. For decades, the tiger sat comfortably at the top of the food chain, feeding on moose, elk, and wild boar. That was until humans started populating the region, trying to scrape out a living in the dense taiga forests after the fall of the Soviet Union. Poachers realized the potential of this area, despite the fact that they had to settle among some of the most dangerous predators in the world. The meat of the Siberian tiger and the wild boar fetched good money in the black markets near the Chinese border, and for many like Markov, this was their only sustenance in the broken post-Soviet economy. On a cold winter morning in 1997, Markov loaded his supplies, kissed his wife goodbye, and set out with his friend on a 50-mile drive deep in the heart of the frozen taiga forest. The plan was to spend the night in a remote cabin and leave to hunt in the morning. As the sun dawned, he set out on foot, accompanied by his attack dogs, who could also be used to sniff out the scent of the Siberian tigers from their footprints. In below freezing temperatures, the snow covered the solid ground by at least 10 inches as Markov limped his way through the layers of snow among the forest trees and thick brush. Markov spotted a trail of footprints that were even bigger than his hand. Prints as large as this could only belong to the great Siberian tiger. He followed the tracks for miles, hoping they would lead him to the animal they belonged to. Armed with a shotgun, Markov was confident that he was one clear shot away from a kill that could make him good money in this failing economy. Then as he peered over one of the trees, he saw the enormous Siberian tiger feeding on a wild boar. It looked over at the man, locking eyes for a
Oh yeah, I've heard this story before. This story is crazy.
few seconds before going back to eating, refusing to let go of its kill. The fierce animal looked unfazed as its muscles rippled with every bite of
Dude, cats are a different animal.
flesh it pulled from the dead boar. Markov realized he was close enough to get the clear shot he needed. He raised his shotgun and fired a bullet straight into its torso. It was a sure hit, he thought. It was only a matter of time that the tiger would succumb to the fatal injury. He walked ahead, salvaged whatever meat he could from the carcass of the dead wild boar, and followed the tiger a few more miles as it limped away injured in the deep snow. The white snow made it easy to follow the blood trail, but he noticed it decreasing the farther he went along in its pursuit. It wasn't long afterwards that the trail stopped, and Markov was left standing alone in the snow with no idea of where the tiger was, dead or alive. He quickly realized that the tiger must not have been fatally wounded and decided to head back to his camp to return the next day. He stored one piece of the boar meat just outside of his camp and left for town to see what he could trade for the other one. But while Markov was away, the wounded tiger had followed the scent of the man to the cabin and smelled its boar hunt stored outside in the wellhead. In frustration, the tiger reclaimed his kill and destroyed the wellhead in the process. It then camped outside near the cabin, awaiting the man's return. When Markov got back to the cabin, he noticed his dogs barking loudly and incessantly, trying to signal to him that something wasn't right. He peered through the window and saw the tiger at a distance. He called his dogs back into the cabin. If the injured tiger had still not left after reclaiming its boar meat, he was after more than just the boar meat. Markov realized that the animal had come for vengeance, and he could not afford to let it live once it had smelled his scent. He set up his gun through a shooting port in the wall and opened fired, wounding the tiger twice now from the same gun. It disappeared into the forest, still able to carry itself despite being shot several times. Markov decided to go to his friend Duncha's cabin not far away and drive away to safety with him in his car. His friend
It's a kitty's dream.
urged him to stay the night at his place because the car's radiator fluid had to be drained every night to keep it running, and they couldn't leave right away. Markov was now visibly frustrated and decided to make his way back to his cabin and deal with the problem the only way a poacher knows, by shooting the tiger until it's dead. Little did he know, in his absence, the tiger had torn down his cabin's front door and had made its way inside, chewing and clawing at anything that had Markov's scent on it. It shred to pieces clothing, mattresses, and tools that he had used, and then found a well-hidden spot outside the trail to lie in wait for Markov's return. It was dark, and Markov was just making his way to the entrance of the cabin when he was ambushed by the tiger. Caught unarmed, he soon found himself at the mercy of the vengeful Siberian tiger, and after their last two encounters, there wasn't much mercy left. Several hours later, investigators discovered a chilling scene outside of the camp. one that captured the grueling nature of the attack and the terrified helplessness of Markov in his final moments before being devoured. The snow around the scene had melted and flattened from the wrestling and wriggling that Markov must have tried while being eaten alive. There wasn't much to call Markov's body anyway. A few bones here, a pool of blood, red snow there. Some of his clothes were found several feet away. His shoes still carried his severed feet. His sleeves still held his detached arms. The tiger was momentarily pacified after tearing apart its hunter and headed downstream. Word had now gotten out of the man-eating Siberian tiger, and terrified poachers and settlers evacuated the taiga forests to escape the same fate as Markov. The only one still in the area was 25-year-old Andrei Pachutnya. He was a trapper who had set up traps in the forest to catch animals for their fur. Andrei's parents urged him not to leave the house to check his traps until the tiger had been found, but he did not heed any advice to stay inside and set out in the forest. In Andrei's absence, the tiger had found his cabin and thrashed it just like it did to Markov's cabin. The Siberian tiger seemed to want to follow and tear to pieces anything that smelled remotely human. Upon his return, he was ambushed by the tiger near a neighbor's cabin, nestled behind a mattress as if it had been lying in wait for him all along. There was not much fight or resistance. Andrei attempted to pull his shotgun from his shoulder and take aim, but the bullet refused to fire. In the harsh Russian winters, older guns were known to have ammunition failures from a frozen cartridge. His shotgun failed at the last moment he would have wanted it to. Andrei was now easy pickings for the Siberian tiger, as it jumped on top of him, leaving him little chance for a fight. Young Andrei's father called for a search and rescue mission to find his son, and they did. But all that was now left of Andrei was a few bloodied clothes and a chard of the cross. The tiger had been feeding on him for over 3 days when the search team discovered him, and there was little of Andrew they could salvage from the site to return to his father. At the time, Project Tiger was a Western-funded animal conservation group operating in the taiga forest, trying to stop illegal hunters and poachers from driving the Siberian tiger to the brink of extinction. The head tracker for the mission, Yuri Trush, found himself in an ironic predicament. As a tiger conservationist and a researcher himself, he was tasked by the authorities to find the injured tiger and kill it on the spot. He was accompanied by officers Shibnev and Pionka, and the trio soon discovered the tracks of a limping tiger. It had been walking on 3 legs, carrying one in the air, likely wounded. The tracks led them to a remote area near the cabin of a man named Shlemenko. The party now knew the tiger was nearby. They listened closely to every ruffle in the trees and then saw the slightest movement in their field of vision. As they went close to the cabin entrance, the giant Siberian tiger leapt at Officer Trush from behind with a deafening, loud roar. All 3 men frantically tried to aim their guns at the tiger, but it was too late for the head tracker, as he quickly found himself beneath the angry behemoth tiger, clawing and gnawing at his vulnerable body. In the heat of the moment, the trio had fired dozens of bullets, and 11 of those hit the tiger, which after a few seconds finally collapsed and died. Gathering his senses, Officer Trush tried to figure out where his rifle had gone, only to later realize it had partially gone down the tiger's throat as it jumped at him. The Siberian tiger was loaded onto a truck and taken to the village to confirm that it was indeed the correct tiger. The tiger, after killing, maiming, and terrorizing settlers for far too long, had now finally been killed. The animal was later skinned and put up for display in the region's administrative headquarters as a stark reminder of the horror brought by the man-eating tiger, and a lesson for what happens when man and beast cross each other's paths, and in this situation, leading to 2 people's terrifying final affliction.
Alrighty, y'all. That's it for me tonight. I'm gonna be heading to bed. So, thanks everyone again for stopping by. I love it. I'll see you guys. Might do a stream tomorrow. You know. Yeah. So, yeah, I might do a stream tomorrow night. So, I'll keep you all posted. And like I said, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. So, see you guys. Good night.
This old man and me were at the bar and we were having us some beers and swapping out on cares, talking politics, blonde and redhead chicks, old dogs and new tricks and habits we ain't kicked. We talked about God's grace, all the hell we raised. And then I heard the old man say, God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy. He said I fought 2 wars, been married and divorced. What brings you to Ohio? He said, damn if I know. We talked an hour or 2 about every girl we knew, what all we put them through, like 2 old boys will do. We pondered life and death. He lit a cigarette, said these damn things will kill me. God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy. Last call is 2 a.m. I said goodbye to him. I never talked to him again. Then one sunny day I saw the old man's face, front page obituary. He was a millionaire. He left his fortune to some guy he barely knew. His kids were mad as hell, but me, I'm doing well. And I drop by today to just say thanks and pray. And I left a 6-pack right there on his grave. And I said, God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy. God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy. God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy.